श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनि नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये।
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So continuing on Lord's pastime of Vrindavan, Srimad Bhagavatam. I was thinking in 2 days we have Lord Narsim's appearance day. Also today is Srimati Rukmani Devi's appearance day. Anyway, today I will take the class on Bhagavatam, and from tomorrow we will start Narsim Dev Katha. Okay. From tomorrow we will begin Lord Narsim Dev Katha. Here we have deity of Lord Narsim Dev, small deity, but deity of Narsim Dev is there. So all devotees are preparing, arranging for Narsim Chaturdashi. Okay, so Lord Krishna's pastime out of Vrindavan, third canto, third chapter. We completed till 22nd verse. So we see that the Lord in Dwarika, he married so many queens, 16,108 queens, and he had such a big family, but he was completely detached. The Lord was thus engaged in the household life for many, many years, but at last his detachment from ephemeral sex life was fully manifested. So from 23rd verse, Devadhineshu kameshu Devadhina swayam puman Ko vishrambhet yogena Yogeshwaram anuvrata. Every living entity is controlled by a supernatural force. That is Deva Adhineshu. Adhineshu, Adhinast means under control. So all of us, all the living entities in this material creation, they are under the control of the demigods or the supernatural force. So every living entity is controlled by a supernatural force, and thus his enjoyment is also under the control of the supernatural force. No one therefore can put his faith in Lord Krishna's transcendental sense activities. No one therefore can put his faith in Lord Krishna's transcendental sense activities, but one who has become a devotee of the Lord by rendering devotional service. So Deva Adhineshu Kameshu, the sense enjoyment is also under the control of the supernatural force or the supernatural controllers. And the person himself is also Deva Adhina Swayam Puman. Ko Vishrambhet Yogena. So who can know about the transcendental senses of the Lord? Yogeshwaram Anuvrata. Anu is one who follows and Vrata is the vows. So what vows one follows? Of rendering service. Then he can come to know the Supreme Lord. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, no one but a devotee can understand the transcendental birth and activities of the Lord. Very famous verse. बोलो, सबको पता है ये verse. Quickly. Verse बोलो पुरुषोत्तम. What verse is this?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जन्म कर्म में दिव्यम योग मेति तत्वता।
पहली लाइन भी पूरी सही नहीं है, पास मार्क मिलेगा, और दूसरी लाइन के बिना तो नहीं मिलेगा. दूसरी लाइन बोलो. भाग्यश्री आप बोलो, श्लोक बोलो.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, धन्यवाद प्रभु. प्रभु जी मुझे भी आता है याद.
हाँ, आता है तो बोलो, श्लोक बोलो. नहीं आता तो बता दो कि नहीं आता. अरे जल्दी बोलो. श्लोक
प्रभु जी
आता है तो नहीं आता है. अच्छा. आपको मैंने 100 बार कहा कि गीता पहले पढ़ो। कभी एक बुक पढ़ ले, कभी दूसरा बुक, कभी तीसरा बुक। गीता तक नहीं आई, कुछ नहीं आएगा। और कौन बोलेगा? माननीय माता जी, आप बोलो। देखना नहीं, बिना देखे बोलो पूरा श्लोक।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद।
जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम जो मैं जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम जो मैं व्यक्ति त्यक्त देह पुनर्जन्म नास्ति मामेषु अर्जुन।
चलो ठीक है। त्यक्ता देहम पुनर्जन्म नेति मामेति सो अर्जुन। त्यक्ता देहम पुनर्जन्म, पुनर्जन्म नहीं होता। क्यों? क्योंकि मामेति सो अर्जुन, बिकॉज ही विल रीच मी। If we can reach Krishna, then there is no rebirth. And if we fail to reach Krishna, then we have to come back again. We have to suffer. The same fact is herein corroborated. No one but one who is enlightened by the devotional service of the Lord can understand the difference between the Lord's activities and those of others. Unless and until one is enlightened by devotional service of the Lord, one cannot understand the difference between Lord's activities and those of others. Who are the prime example who fail to understand the difference between Lord activities and those of others? What is this class of people called? Although they are very knowledgeable, they force themselves to be very knowledgeable, but they fail. Who are these people? इनको क्या कहते हैं? मनोराम प्रभु?
कृष्ण प्रभु जी, they are the ज्ञानीज प्रभु जी.
And in particular, what Prabhupada calls them? Pradeep? He has already answered, but not the exact word. वो रसा नहीं आएगा जब तक वो वर्ड नहीं आएगा। उसकी जो इंटेंसिटी है वो नहीं आएगी। अरे आप तो पकड़ लो। प्रदीप, यू आर हियरिंग और नॉट? What is the answer? Ravinder, आप बोलो. What are they called?
Mayavadi proves impossible.
Yes, Mayavadis. They're Mayavadis. Because they think that Krishna's form is also material. It is not different from others. The Prabhupada is saying, unless one is enlightened in devotional service, unless and until he serves Krishna, this understanding will never come. No one but one who is enlightened by the devotional service of the Lord can understand the difference between the Lord's activities and those of others, who are controlled by the supernatural force. The sense enjoyment of all animals, men, and demigods within the purview of the material universe is controlled by the supernatural force called the Prakriti or Devi Maya. No one is independent in obtaining sense enjoyment, and everyone in this material world is after sense enjoyment. No one is independent, but everyone is attempting. Persons who are themselves under the control of supernatural power cannot believe that Lord Krishna is not under any control beyond himself in the matter of sense enjoyment. This is the problem. They cannot believe that Lord Krishna is not under any control beyond himself. These are the Mayavadis. They cannot understand that his senses are transcendental. In the Brahma Samhita, the Lord's senses are described as omnipotent. That is, with any sense, he can perform the activities of other senses. What is the verse? डेली गाते हैं, बोलो. दर्शन आरती में डेली गाते हैं. बोलो मनोरम, कौन सा वर्ष है? भैया थोड़ा कृष्णा कॉन्शियस बनना पड़ेगा. खाली 24 घंटे में थोड़ी सी देर के लिए ट्यून हो रहे हैं. जपा में तो ट्यून होते नहीं, क्योंकि माइंड तो बिल्कुल पार्टिसिपेट करता नहीं है. बोलो क्या वर्ष है? What verse is this? प्रियंका आप बताओ.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
हरे कृष्णा.
प्रभु जी, या अंगानि यस्य सकलेन्द्रियविधिमन्ति पश्यन्ति पान्ति कलन्ति चिरं जगन्ति।
Yes,
हरे
yes, precisely. Angani yes, sakla indriya. His indriya can perform the action of all. By his eyes, he can eat. He can do any function with any sense because all his senses are transcendental. We cannot do that. No one can do that. His senses are described, that is, with any sense he can perform the activities of other senses. One who has limited sense cannot believe that the Lord can eat by his transcendental power. Eat by his transcendental power of hearing. How Krishna eats? By his transcendental power of hearing. Who can explain this? Every day you are attempting. So what is the experience? Krishna is eating through the power of hearing. बताओ कैसे? Who will explain? Swapna, you are hearing? आप ट्रांसलेट कर दो. हाँ, हिंदी में ट्रांसलेट कर दो कि भगवान सुनने से खा लेते हैं. कैसे? हम तो सुनने से नहीं खा सकते ना. सुनने से तो हमारा पेट भरेगा नहीं. भगवान का भर जाता है. कैसे? किसको पता है? बताओ, जल्दी बताओ. दयाशील रम्या का है. अच्छा. और तुम्हारी डॉटर वो नहीं सुन रही है? तो देखो ना, उसको बीच में बैठाओ. देखो, मोहा सुन रही है, रेयांशी सुन रही है, ये क्या कर रही है? बताओ रम्या, हाउ ही कैन ईट बाय हियरिंग? एग्जैक्टली कैसे होता है ये? अनम्यूट करके बोलो.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, when we recite the mantras before offering the Supreme Lord, he eat by hearing the mantras, the
Very
Bholan
good.
of mantra.
Precise answer. Perfect answer. So Krishna says, तद हम भक्ति उपृतम अश्नामि प्रियतात्मना. बोला ना, पत्रम पुष्पम फलम तोयम यो में भक्त्या प्रयच्छति तद हम भक्ति उपृतम अश्नामि प्रियतात्मना. So if we have prepared with love and we are offering with love and calling him, he accepts it. आपने घंटी बजाई, वो ले लेते हैं, स्वीकार कर लेते हैं. हाँ? ये बात किसको समझ में आएगी? जो प्रेम से उनके लिए बनाता है उसी को समझ में आएगी. जो उनसे प्रेम करता है, उनकी सेवा करता है, नहीं बाकी लोगों की समझ से परे है. हाँ? मैंने एक बार बताया था ना प्रभुपाद जी को. प्रभुपाद जी के सामने एक आर्य समाजी है. बोला, आप क्या करते हैं? हाँ, प्रसाद पाते हैं. और प्रसाद कैसे? बोले, आपने जैसे भगवान के सामने, आपने भगवान के सामने प्लेट रखी, वो तो वापस मिलेगी. प्रसाद कहाँ है? उन्होंने खाया कहाँ? तो प्रभुपाद जी ने कहा कि भगवान भगवत गीता में कहते हैं, तद हम भक्ति उपतम अश्नामि प्रियतात्मना. तो हम भगवान की मान रहे हैं, तुम्हारे जैसे रास्कल की बात माने. हाँ? तुम्हारे अंदर भगवान के लिए प्रेम ही नहीं है. तुम भगवान को भगवान मानते ही नहीं हो, तो तुमसे कभी नहीं खाएंगे. तुमसे कभी नहीं खाएंगे, इसलिए तुमको वो एक्सपीरियंस नहीं हो सकता. क्योंकि तुमको एक्सपीरियंस नहीं है, इसलिए तुम किसी और का एक्सपीरियंस स्वीकार नहीं करते. इसलिए वो प्रसाद से भी बेचारे क्या है? दे आर विरक्त, दे आर डिप्राइव्ड. One who has limited senses cannot believe that the Lord can eat by his transcendental power of hearing and can perform the act of sex life simply by seeing. The controlled living entity cannot even dream of such sense activities in his conditional life. But simply by the activities of Bhakti Yoga, he can understand that the Lord and his activities are always transcendental. As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tatvata. One cannot know even a fraction of the activities of the Lord if he is not pure devotee of the Lord. He cannot even begin to understand. पूर्यं कदाचित् क्रीडाद्भिः यदुभोज कुमारकये कोपिता मानया से भगवान मता कोविदः. Once upon a time, great sages were made angry by the sporting activities of the princely descendants of the Yadu and Bhoja dynasties. And thus, as desired by the Lord, the sages cursed them. This is how Krishna, the other day we were discussing. Just for one person to remain the emperor of the world, Krishna finished off his entire dynasty. Who was that person? You will not hear this anywhere. For whom did Krishna do this episode? For whom Krishna planned this episode? For whom? बोलो, मैंने बताया था उसे. किसी को नहीं पता है? बोलो बोलो रविंद्र, आप बोलो.
प्रभु जी
अरे आप म्यूट हो, अनम्यूट करके बोलो.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, युधिष्ठिर महाराज प्रभु आप बताएं.
युधिष्ठिर महाराज. युधिष्ठिर महाराज तो अगर कोई चैलेंज कर सकता था तो केवल यदु, और कोई नहीं. हाँ, उनको ही हटा दिया रास्ते से, भगवान ने उन्हीं को हटा दिया. दिस इज हिज रिनाउंसिएशन. The associates of the Lord who were playing the part of princely descendants of the Yadu and Bhoja dynasties were not ordinary living entities. It is not possible that they could offend any saintly man or sage, nor could the sages, who were all pure devotees of the Lord, be influenced to anger by any of the sporting activities of the princes born in the holy dynasties of Yadu or Bhoja, wherein the Lord himself appeared as a descendant. The cursing of the princes by the sages was another transcendental pastime of the Lord to make a show of anger. The princes were cursed in order that one may know that even the descendants of the Lord, who could never be vanquished by any act of material nature, were subjected to the reactions of anger by great devotees of the Lord. One should therefore take great care and attention not to commit an offense at the feet of a devotee of the Lord. तो हम में से तो कोई भगवान के द्वारिका के संगीगण है नहीं. संगीगण को छोड़ो, उनके परिवारगण. But if one commits offense at the feet of a devotee, whatever he has, it will all be lost. So we should take great care not to commit any Vaishnava aparadha. तथा कतिपयर्मासे वृष्णिभोज अंधकाद्यः यायुप्रवसं संहृष्ट रथेर्देवा विमोहिता. A few months passed, and then, bewildered by Krishna, all the descendants of Vrishni, Bhoj and Andhak, who are incarnation of the demigods, went to Prabhas, while those who were eternal devotees of the Lord did not leave but remained in Dwarika. There is one secret who are incarnations of demigod meant to Prabhas. While those who were eternal devotees of the Lord did not leave but remained in Dwarka. Tatra snatva pitradevan rishim cheva tad ambhasa tarpayitva viprebhyo gavo bahu gunadadhu. After arriving them, all of them took bath, and with the water of this place of pilgrimage, they offered their respects to their forefather, demigod, and great sages, and thus satisfied them. They gave cows to the Brahmanas in royal charity. So, this is what the demigods, those who incarnated, they all went to Dwarka and they performed this activity, this ritual. Among the devotees of the Lord, there are several divisions, mainly Nitya Siddha and Sadhana Siddhas. The Nitya Siddha devotees never fall down to the region of the material atmosphere, even though they are sometimes come on the material plane to execute the mission of the Lord. The Sadhana Siddha devotees are chosen from the conditioned souls. Out of the Sadhana devotees, there are mixed and pure devotees. The mixed devotees are sometimes enthusiastic about fruitive activities and are habituated to philosophical speculation. The pure devotees are free from all these mixtures and are completely absorbed in the service of the Lord. Regardless of how and where they are situated, pure devotees of the Lord are not enthusiastic to push aside their service to the Lord in order to go visit holy places of pilgrimage. Very important statement. Very, very important statement. Please hear very carefully. Pure devotees of the Lord are not enthusiastic to put aside their service to the Lord in order to go visit holy places of pilgrimage. How do you know you're pure? Because for him, he does not have his own any such desire. He has only one desire, and the desire is to serve. So they are not enthusiastic to put aside their service to the Lord in order to go to visit holy places of pilgrimage. A great devotee of Lord in modern times, Sri Narottam Das Thakur, has sing like this: to visit holy places of pilgrimage is another bewilderment of the mind, because devotion to the service to the Lord at any place is the last word in spiritual perfection. But in our case, we are not going for a visit. We are going for our yatra to take others. That is why preaching is very important. Then there is service. When you are inviting others and bringing them to Krishna consciousness. For that purpose you are going. That is first class. That is pure devotion. Otherwise, if we are going for our own purification, for our own advancement, for our own pleasure, then it is not first class. That is not first class. So very important, what is the purpose? One minute, I will mark this because it's a very important statement. A great devotee, okay. A great devotee of the Lord in modern times, Sri Narottam Das Thakur has sung like this: to visit holy places of pilgrimage is another bewilderment of the mind, because devotional service to the Lord at any place is the loud word in spiritual perfection. For pure devotees who are completely satisfied with the transcendental loving service of the Lord, there is hardly any necessity to visit various places of pilgrimage. Now, please hear. I was giving presentation and I was asked this question once. Say, for pure devotees of the Lord who are completely satisfied with the transcendental loving service of the Lord, there is hardly any necessity to visit various places of pilgrimage. But those who are not so advanced have the prescribed duties of visiting pilgrimage site and regularly performing the rituals. The part of the princely order of the Yadu dynasty who went to Prabhas performed all duties to be done in places of pilgrimage and offered their pious actions to their forefathers and others. So what were they? They were not pure devotees. Those who were not so advanced. As a rule, every human being is indebted to God. The demigod, great sages, and other living entities, people in general, forefathers, etc., for various contributions received for them. Thus, everyone is obliged to repay the debt of gratitude. This is a very beautiful verse. Someone remember this verse? We are indebted to God, the demigods, full, the sages, other living entities. Who remembers this verse? This is quoted by Prabhupada many times in many scriptures. It was from Srimad Bhagavatam. जयशील तुम्हें तो याद होना चाहिए ये वर्स. भगवत गीता में पढ़ाया मैंने. सुनते नहीं हो, पढ़ते नहीं हो बाद में ना, इसलिए रिमेम्बर नहीं रहेगा. कम से कम ज्यादा नहीं तो एक ही पेज रोज पढ़ो. एक एक पेज भी रोज पढ़ोगे तो साल में 365 दिन तो पढ़ो, 365 पेज तो पढ़ोगे. एक लाइन भी नहीं पढ़ते, पेज तो बहुत दूर की बात है. बोलो, किसको पता है ये वर्स? Demigods, sages, general living entity, family members, humankind, forefathers. नहीं पता ये वर्स किसी को? देव ऋषि भूताप्त निर्नाम पितृनाम ना किंकरो नायम ऋणीचर जन सर्वात्मनाय शरणम शरण्यो गतो मुकुंदम परिहृत कार्तम. ये फर्स्ट चैप्टर में है, हम लोग पढ़ते हैं. फर्स्ट चैप्टर में जब अर्जुन बोल रहा है कि आई विल नॉट फाइट, thus everyone is obligated to repay the debt of gratitude. Thus Yadus who went to Prabhas pilgrimage site performed their duties by distributing land, gold and well-nourished cows in royal charity as described in the following verse. Hiranyam rajatam shayyam vasamsya adina kamabalan yanam ratham ibhan kanya dhanamritim karimapi. The Brahmanas were not only given well-fed cows in charity, but also gold coins, bedding, clothing, animal skin, seeds, blankets, horses, elephant, girls, and sufficient land for maintenance. Itni charity दी. All these charities were meant for the Brahmanas, whose lives were devoted entirely to the welfare of society, both spiritually and materially. The Brahmanas were not giving their services as paid servants, but the society provided them with all necessities. It was arranged for some of the Brahmanas who were in difficulty for marriage to be given girls. The Brahmanas therefore had no economic problem. The Kshatriya king and rich mercantile men would provide them with all that they needed. And in exchange, the Brahmanas were completely devoted to the elevation of society. That was the way of social cooperation. One moment. आप लोग बोले नहीं, आपको दिख रहा था ये स्क्रीन दिख रही थी या नहीं दिख रही थी? हाँ, स्क्रीन
दिख रहा
नहीं
है, सब दिख रहा है प्रभु जी।
दिख रहा है,
जी
शेयर ही नहीं हो रहा है। आप करो, दिख रहा है, कहाँ दिख रहा है? दिख ही नहीं रहा।
दिख रहा है प्रभु जी, अभी बंद हो गया।
अच्छा, अब दिख रहा है?
हाँ प्रभु जी।
अच्छा, चलिए, बहुत अच्छा। So there was no economic problem because the Kshatriya king and rich mercantile man would provide them with all they needed. And in exchange, the Brahmanas were completely devoted to the elevation of society. That was the way of social cooperation between the different castes. When the Brahmanas or caste gradually became easygoing, being fed by the society, although they had no Brahminical qualification, they degraded themselves into Brahma Bandhus or disqualified Brahmanas. And thus other members of the society also gradually fell down from the social standard of progressive life. As described in the Bhagavad Gita, the caste system is the creation of the Lord and is arranged according to the quality of work rendered to society and not in terms of birthright, as falsely claimed in the present degraded society. One more verse, 28. Annam chorurasam tebhyo datva bhagavad arpanam vipra artha ashvasura prane mu bhavi murdhabhi. Thereafter, they offered the Brahmanas highly delicious foodstuffs, first offered to the personality of Godhead, and offered their respectful obeisances by touching their heads on the ground. They lived perfectly by protecting the cows and the Brahmanas. Acha. The behavior exhibited by the descendants of Yadu in the pilgrimage site of Prabhas was highly cultured and exactly to the point of human perfection. The perfection of human life is attained by following three principles of civilization. What are these three principles? Pehla hai protecting the cows. Secondly, maintaining the Brahminical culture. And third is, above all, becoming a pure devotee of the Lord. Without becoming a devotee of the Lord, one cannot perfect one's human life. The perfection of human life is to be elevated to the spiritual world, where there is no birth, no death, no disease, and no old age. That is the highest perfectional aim of human life. Without this aim, any amount of material advancement in so-called comforts can only bring the defeat of the human form of life. Brahmanas and Vaishnavas do not accept any foodstuff which is not first offered to the personality of Godhead. Foodstuff offered to the Lord is accepted by the devotees as the mercy of the Lord. After all, the Lord supplies all kinds of foodstuff, both to the human beings and to other animals. A human being must be conscious of the fact that all foodstuffs, namely grains, vegetables, milk, water, etc., the prime necessities of life are supplied for mankind by the Lord. And such foodstuffs cannot be manufactured by any scientist or materialist in the laboratory or factory established by human effort. The intelligent class of men are called Brahmanas, and those who have realized the absolute truth in his supreme personal feature are called the Vaishnavas. But both of them accept foodstuffs, which are the remnants of sacrifice. Sacrifice is ultimately meant to satisfy the Yagna Purusha Vishnu. In the Bhagavad Gita 3.13, it is said that one who accepts foodstuffs that are remnants of sacrifice is freed from all sinful reactions. And that one who cooks foodstuffs only for maintenance of his body takes all kinds of sin. So who will recite this verse? Very simple. वर्स नंबर भी दिया हुआ है, बड़ा फेमस वर्स है। दोनों वर्स बताओ। जल्दी बताओ, टाइम नहीं है फिर। पहला वर्स क्या है? हाँ बोलिए दयाशील प्रभु।
प्रभु जी हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। प्रभु जी यज्ञशिष्ट सिनसंतो मुच्यन्ति सर्वकिल्बिषः।
नेक्स्ट लाइन।
प्रभु जी the first line I'm not able to remember. अघम पापम जे पच्यन्ति आत्मकारण।
यस, वेरी गुड। भुंजते ते त्वाघम पापम ये पचंती आत्म कारण। Because foodstuffs cannot be manufactured by any scientist or materialist in a laboratory or factory established by human effort, the intelligent class of men are called Brahmanas, and those who have realized the absolute truth in its supreme personal feature are called Vaishnavas. Both of them accept foodstuffs which are the remnants of sacrifice. Sacrifice is ultimately meant to satisfy the young Purusha Vishnu. In Bhagavad Gita 3.13, it is said that one who accepts foodstuffs that are remnants of the fire is freed from all sinful reactions. And that one who cooks foodstuffs only for the maintenance of the body takes all kinds of sin. What is this verse? Who will explain? बताइए, ये कौन सा वर्स है? कहाँ लिखा है? क्या है ये वर्स? बोलिए। 13 वर्स तो बता दिया दयाशील प्रभु ने। ये वर्स कौन सा है? बोलिए, जल्दी बोलो, इतने सारे आप लोगों को एक किसी को भी नहीं पता। बोलो रविंद्र प्रभु, कौन सा वर्स है ये? Those who enjoy without offering, they are only eating sins. ना 12वां श्लोक है भाई, ये तो पता होना चाहिए। 3rd चैप्टर का 12वां श्लोक। जो ये बोला था वो 3:13 था। And that one who cooks foodstuffs only for maintenance of his body takes all kind of sins which lead only to suffering. The foodstuff prepared by the Yadus at the Prabhas pilgrimage site to offer to the bona fide Brahmanas, there were all offered to the personality of Godhead Vishnu. The Yadus offered their sincere obeisances by touching their heads to the grounds. The Yadus, or any enlightened family in Vedic culture, are trained for attainment of human perfection by total cooperation of service between the different divisions of the social order. अच्छा, खत्म ही हो गया। The word Uru Rasam is also significant here. Hundreds of delicacies can be prepared simply by the combination of grains, vegetables, and milk. All such preparations are in the mode of goodness and therefore may be offered to the personality of Godhead. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 9.26, the Lord accepts only foodstuffs which are within the range of fruits, flower, leaves, and liquids, provided they are offered in complete devotional service. Devotional service is the only criteria for a bona fide offering to the Lord. The Lord assures that He positively eats such foodstuffs offered by the devotees. So, judging from all sides, the Yadu power perfectly trains civilized persons. and their being cursed by the Brahmana sage was only by the desire of the Lord. The whole incident was a warning to all the concerned that no one should behave lightly with Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purport to the third canto, third chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Lord's Pastimes out of Vrindavan. Then the Vidur Maitreya Samvad will begin. This will continue in the third canto and fourth canto. Very big dialogue. Hare Krishna. बोलिए, आपका कोई प्रश्न है, कोई जिज्ञासा, कुछ तो बताइए। कुछ नहीं है तो फिर सोइए। श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदी, हरि हरि बोल, हरे कृष्णा। सोनिका नहीं आ रही है 2-3 दिन से, पूछो सर रम्या क्या हाल है उसका, कहाँ है, मालूम है? पूछना चाहिए ना आपस में एक दूसरे को, नहीं आते तो, कि कहाँ है। क्यों, जब मैं ही बोलूंगा तभी आप लोग पूछेंगे? ये गलत बात है। तो फिर आपस में बॉन्ड कैसा है? हाँ, एक दूसरे का ख्याल रखना चाहिए। हरे